Losing a spouse is one of the hardest experiences a person can go through. It's not just the heavy burden of grief, it's also the overwhelming number of decisions that suddenly fall on your shoulders. In times like this, it's easy to make choices based on pain, loneliness, or pressure from others. However, some decisions can lead to regret, financial trouble, or even emotional setbacks that make healing even harder. The truth is, while grief is personal, there are certain things you should always think twice about before saying yes to. In this video, we will discuss 5 things you should avoid after losing a spouse, mistakes that many people unknowingly make, only to realize later that they weren't truly ready. These are the traps that can make an already tough time even more complicated. By knowing them ahead of time, you can protect your emotional, financial, and physical well-being. Stay with me until the end, because these insights aren't just about avoiding mistakes. They're about making sure you move through this chapter of your life with clarity, dignity, and the support you deserve. Now let's begin. Number 1. Making big financial decisions. Too soon, one of the most common mistakes people make after losing a spouse is rushing into major financial decisions. It's understandable. Suddenly, you have to deal with bank accounts, insurance policies, investments, and maybe even the tough question of whether to keep or sell your home. In the middle of grief, it might seem like taking immediate action will bring stability or a sense of control. But the truth is, grief clouds judgment, and making big financial choices too soon can lead to regret later. When emotions are running high, decisions that seem logical in the moment might not be the best for the long run. Many widows and widowers feel pressured by well-meaning friends, financial advisors, or even their own sense of urgency to sell their house, move somewhere new, or make large investments. However, the months after losing a spouse should be a time of emotional adjustment, not financial risk-taking. The smartest move you can make is to pause, giving yourself time to process your loss before making choices that will affect the rest of your life. Take the case of 74-year-old Margaret. After losing her husband, multiple people told her she should downsize her home immediately. The idea made sense: less space to maintain, lower expenses, and a fresh start. So, within a few months, she sold the house they had lived in for 40 years and moved into a smaller apartment in a different town. But once the shock of her loss settled, she realized she had made a decision out of panic. She missed her familiar surroundings, her neighbors, and the sense of comfort her home provided. In hindsight, she wished she had waited longer before making such a big move. Financial decisions don't just involve real estate. Many newly widowed individuals become targets for financial predators, people who see vulnerability as an opportunity. Whether it's unsolicited investment offers, high-pressure sales tactics, or even well-meaning but uninformed advice from friends, it's important to be cautious. If someone is pushing you to sign documents, withdraw large sums of money, or invest quickly, take a step back. The best financial decisions are rarely made in a hurry. Another common mistake is giving away money or assets too soon. Grief often brings a strong desire to help others, children, grandchildren, charities, or close friends. While generosity is a wonderful thing, making large financial gifts or dividing assets prematurely can leave you in a tough spot later. What seems manageable now might not be sustainable in the years ahead. Before making any major financial moves, consult with a trusted professional who understands your long-term needs and can help you plan wisely. The first year after losing a spouse should be about stability, not drastic financial changes. Experts often recommend the 1-year rule, which suggests waiting at least a year before making any permanent financial decisions. This allows time for the initial emotional shock to pass, so you can think clearly about what's truly best for your future. Losing a spouse is already one of life's most difficult transitions. The last thing you need is added stress from financial mistakes that could have been avoided. Take your time, seek trustworthy advice, and remember, there's no rush. The best decisions come from clarity, not grief. Number 2, isolating yourself from friends and family. After losing a spouse, it's natural to want time alone. Grief is deeply personal, and sometimes solitude feels like the only way to process the pain. But while taking moments for yourself is important, Completely shutting out friends and family can lead to an even deeper sense of loneliness, one that makes healing even harder. Many people fall into the habit of withdrawing, telling themselves they just need more time. But the truth is, isolation can quickly turn into a pattern that's difficult to break. Human connection plays a crucial role in emotional well-being, especially during times of loss. When people distance themselves for too long, they often experience increased sadness, anxiety, and even physical health issues. Studies show that prolonged social isolation can weaken the immune system, raise blood pressure, and even shorten lifespan. In contrast, staying connected, even in small ways, can ease emotional burdens and provide much-needed support. Take the case of 78-year-old Walter. When his wife of 52 years passed away, he stopped answering phone calls, skipped family gatherings, and rarely left the house. He told himself he just wasn't in the mood to talk, that people wouldn't understand his grief and that being alone was easier. Months passed, and instead of feeling better, he felt worse. His days blurred together, his energy dropped, and even his appetite changed. It wasn't until a neighbor insisted. He came over for coffee, and something changed. That one conversation turned into a weekly habit, then slowly became a routine of meeting up with friends. The more he connected, the lighter he felt, not because the pain was gone, but because he realized he wasn't alone in carrying it. The key isn't to force yourself into big social gatherings before you're ready. It's about taking small steps to stay connected. Whether it's answering a phone call, going for a short walk with a friend, or joining a support group, these little actions can help keep you from falling into deep loneliness. If you don't feel like talking, that's okay. Just being around people, even if you're only listening to a conversation, can remind you that life keeps moving and support is available when you need it. Another mistake many people make is pushing away those who care the most. Sometimes grief brings frustration, exhaustion, or a feeling that no one truly understands what you're going through. But shutting people out completely can create unnecessary distance between you and those who genuinely want to help. Your loved ones may not have the perfect words, but their presence alone can make a difference. Letting them in little by little can bring comfort, even when words aren't enough. It's also important to find support from people who truly understand your pain. Connecting with others who have faced a similar loss, whether through a grief support group, a local gathering, or even an online forum, can be incredibly healing. Speaking with people who truly understand what you're going through can validate your feelings and remind you that you are not alone. Grief doesn't follow a timeline, and there's no single right way to heal. But isolating yourself completely only makes the journey harder. Finding small ways to reconnect with others at your own pace can bring strength, support, and even moments of unexpected happiness. Remember, you don't have to carry the weight of loss alone. There are people who care, people who want to be there for you, and people who can help you move forward, one step at a time. If you're still watching this video and find these insights helpful, comment the number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. Your support allows us to keep creating valuable content that informs and inspires. Now let's move on to the next point. Number 3, ignoring your own health and well-being. When a spouse passes away, many people become so overwhelmed by grief that they stop taking care of themselves. It's easy to skip doctor's appointments, forget to eat, or let daily routines slip while dealing with loss. Some even feel guilty about taking care of themselves, as if prioritizing their health somehow lessens the love or grief they feel. But the truth is, neglecting your well-being doesn't bring you closer to the person you lost. It only makes moving forward even harder. Grief affects the body in ways many people don't realize. Studies show that losing a spouse increases the risk of heart problems, weakens the immune system, and can even speed up memory decline. The stress of grief can lead to high blood pressure, trouble sleeping, and changes in appetite. Some people lose interest in food, while others turn to unhealthy comfort eating. Over time, these habits can take a serious toll on both physical and mental health. The key isn't to expect yourself to feel normal overnight, but to make small choices that help keep your body strong as you navigate this difficult time. Take 81-year-old James, for example. After his wife passed, He stopped cooking for himself. He told himself he wasn't really hungry, and when he did eat, it was usually something quick and processed. Within a few months, he started feeling weak, had trouble sleeping, and was constantly exhausted. His daughter noticed the change and encouraged him to eat regular meals again, even when he didn't have an appetite. Once he made small adjustments, like preparing simple, nutritious meals and drinking more water, he noticed his energy levels improved, his mood stabilized, and he was better able to cope with his grief. Self-care isn't just about food. It includes movement, rest, and emotional well-being. Many people stop exercising after losing a spouse, not because they don't want to stay active, but because they no longer have a companion to do it with. But staying physically active, even if it's just a short daily walk, has been proven to reduce stress, boost mood, and even extend life. In some cases, joining a local walking group or an exercise class can provide both physical benefits and much-needed social connection. Another mistake is neglecting medical checkups. Many widows and widowers skip routine doctor visits or delay seeking medical care because they feel too overwhelmed. But this is when looking after your health matters the most. If you haven't been to the doctor in a while, schedule an appointment. Regular checkups, managing existing health conditions, and keeping up with medications can make a significant difference in how you feel, physically and emotionally. Mental health is just as important as physical health. Grief can lead to depression, anxiety, and even feelings of hopelessness, especially when combined with isolation. If you're struggling, don't hesitate to reach out for help. Speaking with a counselor, joining a grief support group, or simply opening up to a trusted friend can bring relief and reassurance. You don't have to go through this alone. Seeking support isn't a sign of weakness. It's a step toward healing. Your spouse would have wanted you to take care of yourself. Honoring their memory doesn't mean neglecting your well-being. It means continuing to live in a way that allows you to find moments of peace and strength. It's okay to grieve, to take your time and to feel the weight of loss. But through it all, remember that your health still matters. You are still here and your well-being is worth protecting. Number 4. Rushing into a new relationship. Losing a spouse creates a deep emotional emptiness that can feel impossible to fill. For many, the loneliness that follows is one of the hardest parts of grief, and the thought of finding companionship again might seem like the only way to cope. While there is nothing wrong with wanting connection, one of the biggest mistakes widows and widowers make is rushing into a new relationship before they have fully processed their grief. The pain of loss creates a strong need for comfort, but making big romantic decisions too soon can lead to more heartbreak, confusion, and regret. Grief doesn't follow a set timeline. Everyone heals at their own pace. Some take years before even considering dating again, while others feel ready sooner. However, when emotions are still raw, the risk of entering a relationship for the wrong reasons is high. Many people unknowingly look for a new partner not because they are truly ready, but because they want to replace what was lost, avoid loneliness, or escape the pain. These relationships often start with intense feelings, but lack the strong foundation needed for long-term happiness. Take the case of 72-year-old Barbara. Just months after losing her husband of nearly 50 years, she met someone through a friend and quickly entered a relationship. At first, it felt like the companionship she desperately needed, someone to talk to share meals with, and to distract her from the overwhelming loneliness. But as time went on, she realized she wasn't truly ready. The relationship moved faster than she had expected, and soon, she felt trapped in something that didn't feel right. Eventually, she had to step back and take time for herself. Looking back, she wished she had given herself more time before making such a big decision. A new relationship should be based on genuine connection, not just emotional relief. After spending decades with a spouse, daily routines, shared habits, and deep memories become a part of life. Jumping into a new relationship before fully processing that loss can lead to unfair comparisons, unrealistic expectations, and even guilt. Some widows and widowers struggle with conflicting emotions, wanting to move forward while feeling as if they are betraying the person they lost. These emotions are completely natural, but they need to be understood and worked through before starting something new. Another concern is being vulnerable to those with bad intentions. Sadly, some people take advantage of grieving individuals, pretending to offer emotional support while secretly trying to manipulate or exploit them, sometimes financially. Scammers and even well-meaning but opportunistic people often seek out widowed seniors, knowing they may be emotionally fragile and in need of companionship. That's why it's important to trust your instincts and take your time. If someone pressures you to commit quickly, make financial decisions, or distance yourself from friends and family, these are major warning signs that shouldn't be ignored. This doesn't mean avoiding love or companionship forever. Many widows and widowers do find meaningful relationships later in life. However, the healthiest and most fulfilling ones happen when both people are truly ready, when the decision comes from a place of healing, not desperation. Time and self-reflection are key. Taking the time to grieve, rediscover personal identity, and find comfort in being alone before seeking a new partner makes all the difference. If you do choose to date again, go at your own pace. Take the time to understand what you truly want in a relationship and make sure you're entering it for the right reasons. Talk with trusted friends or family about your feelings, and don't let anyone pressure you, whether they think it's too soon or that you shouldn't be alone. The decision is yours and yours alone. At the end of the day, grief and healing are deeply personal journeys. There is no rush, no deadline, and no rule book. The most important thing is to take care of yourself first, so that, if and when the time comes, any new relationship you enter is built on a foundation of strength, peace, and true companionship. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss future videos. Your support allows us to keep creating content that informs and inspires. Now let's move forward. Number 5. Holding on to every possession. Without letting go, one of the hardest things to face after losing a spouse is deciding what to do with their belongings. Every item holds memories, and letting go can feel like losing them all over again. Many widows and widowers struggle with this, keeping every piece of clothing, every personal item, and every little belonging exactly as it was, afraid that changing anything means erasing the life they shared. It's completely natural to hold on to sentimental things. There's no rule that says you have to get rid of everything. However, keeping an entire home untouched for years, leaving their closet exactly as it was or avoiding any changes, can turn a house into a place of sorrow instead of comfort. Instead of bringing peace, it can serve as a daily reminder of what has been lost, making it even harder to adjust to a new chapter of life. Take the case of 76-year-old Harold. After his wife of 55 years passed away, he left everything exactly as she had. Her shoes stayed by the door, her clothes remained in the closet, and her favorite chair was untouched. At first, it felt like a way to keep her close, but as the months passed, he realized that walking past her belongings every day was keeping him stuck emotionally. He wasn't ready to let go of everything. But when he slowly started giving away some belongings, keeping only a few meaningful ones, he felt a sense of relief. It wasn't about forgetting, it was about making space for healing. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or loving less. It means allowing yourself room to breathe, instead of forcing yourself to make big changes. All at once, start small. Choose a few special keepsakes, a piece of jewelry, a handwritten note, or a favorite photo, and set aside a special place for them. Then when you feel ready, begin going through other belongings, deciding what truly holds meaning and what is just taking up space. Another mistake people make is feeling pressured by others to get rid of things before they're ready. Friends or family members may have good intentions when they suggest clearing things out or moving forward, but this choice should always be made on your own time. If you're not ready, don't rush it. At the same time, be aware that holding onto everything out of guilt or fear might keep you stuck in sadness longer than necessary. There is also an emotional balance in repurposing rather than just removing. Some people find comfort in turning an old shirt into a quilt, transforming a collection of letters into a memory book, or passing down sentimental items to loved ones who will treasure them. This way, their presence remains, not as a source of sorrow, but as a reminder of warmth and love. Ultimately, grief is not about objects. It's about love, memories, and the deep bond you shared. No item can replace a person, and holding on to everything they owned won't bring them back. Letting go in small, thoughtful ways is not about forgetting. It's about honoring their memory while also creating space for your own healing. Moving forward doesn't mean moving away from them. It simply means carrying them with you in a way that allows both love and life to coexist. Final thoughts. Losing a spouse is one of life's most heartbreaking and life-changing experiences. It affects everything: the way you live, the way you think, and even how you see the future. But in the midst of grief, remember that every decision you make can either help or slow down your healing. That's why saying no to these 5 things, rushing financial decisions, isolating yourself, neglecting your health, jumping into a new relationship too soon, and holding on to everything without allowing for change, can make a huge difference in your ability to move forward with strength and clarity. Grief doesn't follow a set timeline, and there is no right or wrong way to process it. But one thing is certain: avoiding these common struggles can help you navigate this chapter in a way that protects both your heart and your future. Healing doesn't mean forgetting, and moving forward doesn't mean leaving your spouse behind. It means honoring their memory in a way that allows you to keep living with purpose, peace, and even joy in the moments ahead. What stood out to you the most? Which of these insights do you feel is most important for your journey? We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts mean a lot to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful content to inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.